Hello aviators, how are you today? My name is Magnar Nordahl. I am an ATR captain and instructor. As you may know, I have moved to Fiji in the Pacific, and I will join the regional airliner here, Fiji Link, flying ATR 42 and 72. It's a great place to be. I have been here for 3 weeks now, and so far I have been through medical examination. I have done the air exam. I passed that. And I'm now doing mostly CBT. Tomorrow will I have emergency training, and the day after the vet drill. And once I got that and the airport pass, I will be qualified to be on observer flight so I can see the network. I used to fly 2 years in Maldives. We never worried about obstacles. The story is different here. They have mountains, and some airports requires circling in a quite narrow area. So I'm excited to see how that will play out. Anyway, I want to talk a little about regulations in every country around the world. As you know, we have ICAO, a UN organization that set guidelines for the rules of the air and for licensing, and then it's up to the member states to follow up and apply those rules, or I should say recommendations. So every country I've been flying in, that is 8 countries so far. Hope this is the last country I will be flying in. And every country have their own peculiar set of rules, because while ICAO set the standard, every country are allowed to set their own regulations. Europe is a little different. Within EU and Associated States, you have EASA, and a license issued by an EASA member state allows you to fly an aircraft registered in any member state. So that's what I have from issued from Norway. Wait for this helicopter. So I have a license issued by CAA Norway in accordance with EASA regulations, which allows me to fly any aircraft registered by an EASA member state. And on my license it's written issued in accordance with Part FCL, that's the EASA rule. And it also states this license complies with the ICAO standards except for the LAPL and the AIR privileges. So also EASA have exemptions from ICAO. I used to fly 2 years in Maldives, so then I had a Maldivian license. And if you look at it, ICAO is not mentioned anywhere. You just say this is issued by Maldives Civil Aviation Authority in accordance with the MCAR, Maldivian Civil Aviation Regulation. Many will say, oh, this is an ICAO license. No, it's not. When you apply for a job, very often they state you will need an EASA license, FAA or ICAO license. But ICAO doesn't issue a license. It's the national authority of each country. So the Maldivian license, I was authorized to fly with Maldivian registered aircraft. If you want to fly in another country, you must have a license issued in that country where that aircraft is registered. It's as simple as that. So I've been through my career through a lot of exams in air law, because that's a requirement to get a license converted. There are some peculiar rules here in Fiji. So I can mention a few of them. For example, validity of a license. In EASA, it's for life. This license is valid for life, but can only use it with a valid rating. And my ATR rating is valid for 12 months. I also need a valid medical, of course. But in Fiji, A PPL is valid for 24 months. A CPL, 6 months. ATPL, 6 months. Revalidation is easy if you have flown at least 5 hours the last 6 months. Otherwise, you need a check. So when you're active flying, no problem at all. Your instrument rating is valid for 13 months. That's quite special. Most countries say 12 months. Okay. And then we have some rules for VFR flight. Even I'm not flying VFR, I have to know the rules, right? So standard VFR minima is at low altitude is 5 kilometers and be clear of cloud. That's okay. Special VFR, that's inside the control zone when the weather is below VFR minima. Then you can fly when the ceiling is 600 feet or above and visibility at least 1500 meters. That's not much, but you're allowed to do it. So if you're cruising at 100 knots, it means you see 30 seconds ahead of you. So, but okay. But at night, they increase the ceiling to 3000 feet and visibility to 16 kilometers. So that's above VFR minima, in fact. Another rule for VFR aircraft, max speed is 200 knots. All the way up to level 200, about level 200, airspace class A, so VFR not allowed. Another rule, you always have to carry a lot of documents on board, but for domestic flights, you can leave your certificate of registration on the ground, as long as you fly domestic. Because the CAA will always know who you are anyway. Okay, if you have an incident or accident, you have to report in written within 96 hours. That's also special. And regardless of type of flight, if you plan to fly more than 10 nautical miles away from an airport, you need a flight plan. Okay, that's some of the rules. I passed the test. I apologize for the noise from outside. There are no windows in this building. There are only shutters to shield from the light. So the birds have a conference. That's how it is here. I live in an apartment. I found a nice area close to the sea, 2 or 3 minutes walk. I can see the ocean from the window. Many restaurants. There are hotels, so a lot of tourists. There are good shops, supermarkets here. So I have everything I need, and I get to know the taxi drivers based here, so that makes it easy to drive around. And I have got most of the items I need for this apartment. I should have something to decorate the walls, maybe. See if I find a nice picture. I can get that. Apart from that, everything is good. I have to continue studying. They have put me on CBT, 18 courses. So I spend my time doing that. But hopefully I can follow up with some videos from the flying here. Until then, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day and happy landing.